Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we are going to be talking about the spell Ice Storm. I have the legacy version of Ice Storm up here right now, and we are going to be comparing and contrasting that to the new 2024 version. We're going to look at any changes or similarities in level, casting time, class, damage, range, all of that, any significant changes in what it can actually do, all that. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment, and do not forget to hit that notification bell. All right, back in the day, we gave this spell not an A, but we gave it a straight up B. It is a 4th level spell that is usable by druids, sorcerers, wizards, Circle of the Land Arctic druids, Tempest Domain clerics, Oath of Ancient paladins, and the artificer artillerist, although the paladins and the artificers get this at a very high level because it is a 4th level spell. I believe they cannot cast this until 13th level because they're half casters. Everybody else gets to cast this at 7th levels. 4th level, 1 action, range of 300 feet, and that was one of the attractive features of this particular spell, is that it was a very long range spell. It's instant, it's evocation, dex save, so you bring a bunch of hail down in a 20-foot radius and a 40-foot high cylinder. That was important because there could be things flying around that get pummeled within 300 feet. You can drop this down. Each creature that's in the cylinder has to make a dex save. They take 2d8 bludgeoning damage and 46 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful save. And then, this is the only thing I really didn't like about the spell, hailstones turn the storm's area of effect into difficult terrain until the end of your next turn. So it's only difficult terrain for 1 turn. You know, this isn't a concentration spell. They wanted to give some kind of fireball flavor to 4th level spells. This is it right here, Ice Storm. And this has kind of been the way it's been since Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or 1E if you want to call it that the 4th level kind of damage spells have been left out. They've kind of been left out. Now, you could upcast this spell, and when you did a D8 extra damage. So not a lot of extra damage, but some. And the big thing is for this spell is it is a 300-foot range, which was massive, and then a 20-foot radius, which is the same as a fireball, but it did have a 40-foot high cylinder, so it would go essentially twice as high as a fireball if you hit the fireball on the ground. Okay, so let's talk about the 2024 version. Here it is. It's still a 4th level spell. It's still 1 action, still 300 feet, still a 20-foot radius, still a 40-foot high cylinder, still evocation, all that. Now, instead of taking 2d8, we're going to do, I think it was 2d6. It was 2d8 plus 4d6. We're going to do 2d10 plus 4d6, half as much on a saving throw that's successful. And hailstones turn the ground in the cylinder into difficult terrain, and they've got a little hyperlink. So there's a hyperlink to cylinder that tells us what a cylinder is now, and there is a hyperlink to difficult terrain, which tells us what difficult terrain is. It really hasn't changed. And then you can upcast this for a D10 for every spell level above 4. So on average, the legacy version was doing 9 points of bludgeoning damage and 14 points of cold damage if they failed. So it's 4.5 times 2 and 3.5 times 4 for 23 damage. The new version is going to be doing 11 bludgeoning on average and 14. So just a little bit more, just a smidgen more. That's it. We're going from a 4.5 to a 5.5 on those bludgeoning dice damage on average if they fail their save. It's really not that much. Other than that, they really didn't change too much on this spell. I'm going to keep this spell, the new one, I'm going to keep the new one at a B. It doesn't really deserve any more than that. Just if I were going to move this to a B+, I would like to have seen the difficult terrain last for a little bit longer. That's another one of the big things about this is the difficult terrain, but it doesn't last that long. It's only around, the ice comes in, it hits the ground, and then it melts, and it's gone. And I don't even think this is worth too much of a 4th level spell. If I were going to, I would probably choose to use other 4th level spells over this one. And, I'm not going to use this every turn. It's not integral to a build. It isn't going to have a lot of impact on enemies when we come into combat. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. So, there is all that. Now, it is usable by wizards, and so let's go to wizards, and wizards get evocation. So here's the evoker, and one of the big things they get is sculpt spell. So with the evoker, you can create pockets of safety, so you could safely cast this on top of your own party if you're an evoker. It's a 4th level spell, so you can choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the spell's level. They automatically succeed on the save, and they take no damage if they normally would take half on a successful save. So they just don't take any damage because they automatically succeed. And this is one of these spells that's like it's supposed to be the bigger parent of Fireball, but not really. And the other class that can use it, of course, is sorcerers. And when we talk about sorcerers, we want to talk about innate sorcery, which increases the DC of that saving throw by 1. We also want to talk about metamagic. There are several metamagic options that you can use. One with this one is empowered spell, which you can, when you roll damage, you can spend a sorcery point, re-roll a number of dice up to your charisma modifier, and you have to use the new rolls. But this one can be done on top of other things like heightened spell, which is a biggie. So you can choose a creature that's making that save to have disadvantage, or you could quicken this. So there's quicken for 2. So you could spend 3 points and quicken it and roll damage dice over again. So that's pretty good. And, if you wanted to, you could wild sorcery this, and you could do some bend luck and give somebody a penalty. So, all in all, not a fantastic spell, not my favorite. It's okay. But it is what it is. We're staying with a B. We're not going to change it at all because they changed the damage. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody